Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom Weekly from the Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living. Each week, we share practical spiritual insights designed to support your growth, helping you live with more clarity, compassion, and intention. Wherever you're listening from, we're glad you're here. Let's begin.
CSL, we always have a goal to help everyone develop into their highest and best self and offer the tools to do that. We have a core of practitioners that have already spent many years doing that very thing, improving, learning, changing, and making themselves in service in wonderful ways. Now, as part of their growth, you are hearing from some of our practitioners throughout the year, and that is part of our leadership development for them. And some of them are more than willing, and some are just willing, and some are slightly reluctant. So you will see them more or less, kind of depending on where they fall there. But we're going to hear from everybody that's willing. And Edgar Rivera is one of those. I'm going to tell you his details, but he spoke last year one time, and I was taking notes when he was talking about soup. So if you're worried about the IRS not being an interesting topic, I got to tell you, he's got some stuff under those words that you're going to want to write down and keep hold of. So Edgar has studied religious science for 23 years. He has been a proud licensed religious science practitioner for 10 of those years. He retired from bank and UPS management, and he told me he never plans to retire from learning and practicing. Good plan. Practicing the presence. He and his wife, Patrice, live on the space coast of Florida, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about the IRS in eternity. I'm a CPA, you know.
Good morning. So I'm experimenting this morning with working through my laptop, so bear with me if not I mess up, but if the laptop messes up. So the theme this month is a creative process. And last week, Reverend Cindy spoke about how God creates and how we co-create with God within God's allness. So today I'm going to continue talking about that creative process. And talking about creativity, this past Wednesday, April 15th, tax filing date. How creative did you get? Did you get it all done? Anyway, and going back hundreds of years, in 1789, Ben Franklin wrote, "Our new Constitution is now established. Everything seems to promise it will be durable, but in this world, nothing is certain except death and taxes." So, keeping that theme going, we're going to talk about the IRS in a little bit. But why are we here? When I was in Catholic grammar school, that question was asked of us, and we were all forced to memorize the answer. I'm here to love and serve the Lord. That kind of resonates differently now. However, that question, why am I here? That continued going through my mind throughout my teen years or 20s and on. And I'm still asking, why am I here? Why am I sitting in this room? What do I want to do in my life? What do I want to accomplish before I die? Is there such a thing as multiple lives, like a cat? What has more lives than a cat? A frog, because it croaks every night. Keep that frog in mind. We're going to go back to that frog in a while. But why are we here? I believe we're here to discover our infinite nature, to remember who we really are, to remember again with the one, the only thing that exists, the presence, never the absence. I believe that's why we're here. to know our oneness, to just unite with that, and to really start working that. Albert Einstein suggested that the most fundamental question that we have to ask is this a friendly universe? And he said that our answer to that question is going to determine how our life proceeds. You know, Mr. Rogers, he grew up believing that the universe is a friendly universe. And he did that thanks to his mom. He talks about when he was a boy, he says, when I was a boy, I would see scary things in the news. And my mom would say, always look for the helpers. Helpers are there when you need them. Why? Because it's a friendly universe. If you believe the universe is a friendly place, you're probably an optimist. Now, I'm an optimist, and most of the time my rose-colored glasses, I'm not wearing them. However, an optimist doesn't mean that you're just seeing the world behind those rose-colored glasses and everything is fine, 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 fine. An optimist is one who knows that there is a good solution for every situation that we come upon. And they, of course, believe the universe is a friendly place, and they are always looking for that solution. They're always expecting that there is a good solution. And perhaps expecting really sums it up. It's what we're looking for. And do we get what we're looking for? I might think so. Henry Ford said that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I know a 70-year-old woman who is not walking as well as she has in the past, and consequently, from time to time, she stumbles in her uneven backyard. Well, whenever she stumbles, she gives thanks. She gives thanks for her balance. She gives thanks for her quick response. She gives thanks that she's able to stay in control and not fall down. She is grateful for the awareness that she has of her body and its movements. She believes that the universe is a friendly place, and she's constantly looking for affirmations that the universe is friendly, and guess what? She gets them. She sees them all the time. Gratitude. Another person that I know recently had some issues with his medications, and so he had issues with them. What do you think he would respond if he didn't think the universe was a friendly place? He would probably say, oh, there you are doing it again. And what's wrong with you? Why don't you get this right? You've been doing this so long, you should have it right. And he might go on and on and on and on and on, getting what he expects. Or if that person was an optimist, what do you think would happen? He would probably say, thank you. And why do we look up when we say thank you? Is spirit up there? Well, I guess the answer is yes. Is spirit down there? Yes. Spirit's everywhere. It's all over. But we've become accustomed, I think, to looking up because it's a higher vibration. And so we just naturally look up. That's one of the things that we do. Anyway, he would say, thank you. And he would then say, okay, thank you for making me aware of this. I'm going to now get back on track. Perhaps I'll call my doctor, make sure that everything is okay. But I know that there is a good solution and that it's available to me and that it's going to be happening. So in Matthew chapter 8, we read the story about the centurion. And the centurion who came to Jesus, and he said, Lord, my servant is lying sick in the house, paralyzed and grievously afflicted. Jesus said to him, I will come and cure him. But in answer, the centurion said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant shall be healed. Jesus said to the centurion, go thy way. As you have believed, so be it done to you. And the servant was healed in that hour. So was Jesus telling us that all you have to do, that our beliefs, our thoughts, our words create? Absolutely. In the Bible, it says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. So that brings us back to that IRS echoing in eternity. Oh no, I didn't want to pay that over and over and over again. No, we're going to perhaps talk about a different IRS, our individual rewards system. So that echoes in eternity. That is a creative process. And rewards aren't necessarily all positive things. It's something that we get for acts or things that we have done, that we have completed. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be all positive. Ernest Holmes said, and I'll have quite a few quotes from Ernest Holmes today, a conscious thought is a starting point of every new creation. Trained thought is far more powerful than untrained, since the admission that thought is power gives it added power. This is one of the great secrets of mental science. Conscious thought is the starting point. The subjective law knows only to obey. It can do nothing else. It has no will of its own. We impress our will upon it. We do not will as though we're using arbitrary force. We're not saying, you do this. We impress it. We believe it. We know that this is what it is. Ernest continues, or concludes that by saying, we should be careful to differentiate between these two attitudes of mind, forcing and impressing. In a different writing, he says, undoubtedly, each one of us is now demonstrating their concept of life. Kind of what your life is right now, it's what all of your beliefs have been prior to now, and it's leading to the life that you're living right now. But trained thought is far more powerful than untrained, and the one who gives conscious power to their thought should be more careful what they think than the one who does not. The more power one gives to their thought, the more completely she believes that her thought has power, the more power it will have. He also said, the mind is a magnet, and we attract that which we identify the self with the self. In order to get the most out of life, we must learn consciously to change many of our habitual thought patterns. This is not easy, for our old thought patterns cling to us with great tenacity. But being thought patterns, they can be reversed. If you are filled with fear, refill yourself with faith. Faith, belief. For faith always overcomes fear. There's been a lot of fear happening around the entire world. Fear of war going on, fear of women not being able to make decisions about their own bodies, fear of mass people coming in and arresting citizens for no good reason. Whatever it is, a lot of fear has been happening in the world. Fear is used to control us and to make the bully feel better about him or herself. I'm a school crossing guard. I do that. That's one of my ministries. Such fun. I love it. This past week, about a block and a half from the corner that I work at, some kid on a scooter lost his balance, fell over. There was a bicyclist behind him, couldn't stop in time, and ran over the boy's leg. Yeah. And then some girl, one of the kids, she came to me, and she told me what happened. And I'm asking her questions. It's a block and a half away. I really can't leave my corner. But more and more kids are coming to me. Eventually, the kid, the bicyclist, came to me, and he was with his sister, and he was scared to death. And he was telling me what happened, and he's telling me that the boy's friends, they were bullies, and they were giving him a hard time, and they were bad-mouthing him, and he was really scared. So what did he do? He made a direct phone call to God. After he finished talking with his mom, he felt a lot better. All the kids involved eventually made their way to my corner, and we talked a little bit, and everything dissipated. So what's the lesson here? Number one, remember the universe is a friendly place, and that good solutions are always at hand. Two, look for that good solution. Remember, conscious thought is the starting point of every new creation. And three, be grateful for the entire experience. And why be grateful? Because that frequency, that attitude gives us more opportunities to be grateful. And we get more and more of that good stuff that we're feeling. So let's go back to that frog that croaks every night. Interesting, frogs only croak at night, right? They're nocturnal and blah, blah, blah. Well, I want you to be that frog. However, be that frog on steroids. Don't croak every night. Croak all the time. Die. Die to your limited self. Die to your belief that you're separated from the one. Die to your belief that you're not enough. Die to your belief that you don't earn enough money. Die to the belief that you're not the right weight. Die to all of those limiting beliefs and die, croak all the time. And in that process of dying to those limited beliefs, listen. Listen to what's going on in there. Listen to those thoughts that are going on in there. And then start separating them. Hey, that's a thought that supports me. I want more of that. Hey, that's a thought that really doesn't support me. I want to change that. And then work at remembering and working on getting rid of those thoughts that aren't supporting you. Get rid of them. I was a religious scientist long before I even knew what religious science was. So back in 1977, that's when I started realizing that our words have power. And at that time, I was realizing it was just words. And that kept on expanding and expanding over the years. And in 2001, the department that I worked at in the bank was eliminated as a result of a bank merger. I was given 9 months of severance pay and benefits. And then I negotiated my bonuses in there. So I was making more money not working than when I was working. I loved it. And it wasn't a performance issue. So there was nothing for me to feel badly about. Well, and again, this is pre-science of mind. But I decided at that time that I am going to get a job doing something different than I've ever done before, and I'm going to get paid more money than I ever got paid. So I enjoyed all of these months went by, and lots of life happened, and actually it was about a month before my benefits were up, and I physically woke up in the morning and I said, oh my goodness, my time's coming to an end, I have to do something. And I started calling some people I know. Well, within 3 days, I had a job offer doing something different and earning more money than I ever earned before. The creative process works even when we're not aware of it. It's the law. It always works. So as Ernie says, and I'm not being sacrilegious when I call him Ernie, we're good friends. We cannot say that one thought is creative while another is not. We must say that all thought is creative according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. That creates a mold in the subjective in which the idea is accepted and poured and sets power in motion in accordance with the thoughts. Ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects, for we're dealing with law and not with whimsical fancy. The conscious mind is superior to the unconscious and may consciously use it. Great as the subconscious is, its tendency is set in motion by the conscious thought. And in this possibility lies a path to freedom. Cage or fly. The unconscious mind is a taskmaker to the unwise, a servant to the wise. We do a lot of things unconsciously. When my late wife and I were expecting a child 45 years ago, we took a parenting class. I remember two things from that parenting class. Number one, the majority of first-timers are late. Number two, that came to play. And number two, unless you do something drastic in your life, you're going to raise your children pretty much the way you were raised. That was news for me. And, we raised our children. That really helped us. It helped us, made us very aware of raising our children and what to do. So, Don Miguel Ruiz, by the way, in his book, The Four Agreements, and that book I was turned on to that book by my now 44-year-old daughter, maybe 20 years ago. And in his book, The Four Agreements, he calls this process, or learning how to deal with life, domestication. I think it's a good description. We get programmed by what we are hearing and observing constantly. That's the way we teach our kids. So whatever's coming out of our mouth probably doesn't have as much impact as what they see us doing. So our unconscious programs run our lives. So much of what we do unconsciously, it helps us. It makes us more efficient in what we're doing. So, for example, driving a car. You see a yellow light, what do? Take your foot off the gas pedal and you start braking. Unless you live in Florida, you step on that gas and get through the intersection as quickly as possible. Normally, it helps us navigate life easily. So, learned behaviors rule our existence without us even thinking about it. And just to emphasize that creative process one more time, Ernest Holmes said, "We are all immersed in the atmosphere of our own thinking, which is a direct result of all we have ever said, thought, or done. This decides what takes place in our lives." So, do you like the way your life is going? And do you want to get more of it? Maybe you don't like the way your life is going and you want to make some changes in it. What to do? How to make this happen? Well, the first step is to make a decision to always listen to what's going on in there. And then start separating them. Listen to your thoughts. Second, you're going to take an inventory of those thoughts. The ones that you like, yeah, give me more of that. The ones you don't like, I want to make some changes in these thoughts. So, sounds like it's pretty easy. Is change simple? Change is simple, right? Yeah, I can change. Is the process easy? Maybe not. It requires work. It requires practice. I'm a licensed religious science practitioner. That last word is the most important one, practitioner. If we're going to maximize ourselves, if we're going to close that gap between where we are and the one and be enveloped in our magnificence, we have to work at it. And so I have some suggestions for working at it and on ways ways of maximizing our life. And let me just call them spiritual practices. So, number one spiritual practice for me, meditation. And number two is going to come real close with that, and that is education. Go continue developing your spirituality. Go to classes. All of the announcements that we had earlier, wow. We offer so many classes, so many opportunities for expanding your mind and getting closer to the one. There's going to be a workshop after this service on meditation. Wow, isn't that tremendous? So other ways, other spiritual practices would be daily prayer. And as you might figure out now, you're praying all the time by your thoughts, because your thoughts are powerful, your thoughts are creative. That's what prayer is. Being of service, that's a wonderful spiritual practice. Expressing gratitude, tithing, all of those are spiritual practices. So we have lots of classes to help you with that, to help you deepen your knowledge, to help you practice all of that. So in wrapping it up, I'm presuming we all want to be like that bird and be out of the cage that we heard about earlier. So how do we do that? I'm suggesting these simple steps just for this week, for the next 6 days. Number one, pledge to yourself that you're going to spend 5 minutes every single day, just for 6 days, envisioning one change that you want in your life. Number two, set a reminder so that you do that activity at the same time every single day. So if you have a smartphone, you can remind me, 9 o'clock every morning to do my spiritual practice. It's a beginning. It's one little thing that you can do. You don't have to go crazy with doing a whole bunch of things. Just commit to doing one thing. And then the last thing that I'm asking is that you be that frog, and you remember the frog. Unfortunately, I developed this too late, so imagine that you're seeing a frog up on the screens, and you're seeing that F stands for fully, R stands for relying, O stands for on, and G stands for God. So be a frog and fully rely on God. Thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with us on Spiritual Wisdom Weekly from the Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living. If this episode supported you in any way, we invite you to stay connected. Listen again, share it with someone you care about, or simply carry what resonated with you into your week. Until next time, take good care and keep growing in spirit.